It's Friday, March 29th, and I'm your host, Paula Hersey. On Barnstable Today, we tackle traffic and parking around Bismore Park, review the checklist for an ORV permit on Sandy Neck, look back at the Youth Job Fair, and learn more about the First Tee Golf Program. Now for a look at municipal news and notes. To improve overall safety for motorists, bicyclists, pedestrians, the Massachusetts Department of Transportation has planned a long-term project for Route 28 and Yarmouth Road that will overhaul the intersection. Mass DOT held an open house at the Hyannis Transportation Center on Wednesday to give the public an opportunity to learn about the project as well as to collect input. Tune in next week for our full story on timing and design. Picking up or dropping off passengers to the ferries or visiting Bismore Park, there are some new traffic and parking patterns to navigate this season. Liz Hartsgrove, Assistant Director of Planning and Development, has the details. One of the paramount things here at the town of Barnstable is public safety. And as the summer ramps up and we start to get ready for the crush of tourism that we see every year, with me today, Liz Hartsgrove is going to talk about Bismore Park and that area of traffic and public pedestrians. It's a zoo down there some days.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So you just recently went in front of town council to get them to understand and appropriate some money to kind of change some traffic patterns down there and maybe the way that people have done things for years. So let's talk about what is the problem and then what we're going to do to address it.
Yeah, it's a good problem. Let's just be out in front with it. It's a really good problem to be in because we're doing our job of being good partners with Highline, and we're just be able to accommodate all of these new uses and existing uses that demands of traffic and transportation down there. So we have, the ferries. And then we have personal vehicles, we have taxis and Ubers, which are new this year, or the past couple of years. It's really expanded and had a great impact and change of dynamic down there. So we're making accommodations for that. We have large capacity vehicles, the shuttles to take people over to auxiliary lots that are farther outside of the downtown core area, which is what was in the parking study and recommendations, is that we need to start be dependent upon areas that are outside of the core area. So we're making accommodations for that as well. And then RTA with the trolley, the complimentary trolley that they have every year, we want to make sure that the public safety is our #1 concern. And so when you have all of those modes of transportation all like going for the same little bit of spot of land, we need to do something, and that's what this proposal is.
Okay, and then not to mention pedestrians either coming off the boat or being down in Bismore Park, really not paying attention to what's going on. There's just so much movement down there with vehicles and people. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the new traffic patterns. Let's start with your large capacity vehicles, the trolleys, the shuttles, and the buses.
Yeah, those are, right now everyone is trying to actually maneuver through the lot on the south end of Bismore Park that's abutting the Highline property. They all actually, because it's an easy in, easy out, it's not as constricted as the Highline lot. And so they have, out of habit, over years and years of accepting that this is the way to do it, they are using our property to go in and out. So we have all of these very large vehicles that are for passengers that are over like 15 people. So when you think of 15 or 50 some people in one single vehicle, and then you have all those other smaller vehicles and pedestrians. So you have the tour buses, you have the school buses, you have the shuttles and the trolleys. We're actually going to carve out onto Ocean Street a space for them where the passengers can load and unload onto the sidewalk, and then have the easy access to get to Highline or whatever other direction that they're planning on going.
Right. And this is handicap accessible.
It is. And we're going to be establishing actually bus stop signs for easy identification of where the buses or the trolleys or shuttles are going to be stopping. And then we also are going to be installing park benches for comfort as well.
Right. So let's go down the line here. The Ubers and the Lyfts, which has been good in one way because it's alleviated some parking issues, but then has created some of its own issues with standing vehicles.
Yeah.
They're waiting for people to come in. So let's talk a little bit about those.
Yeah, rideshare, or
Rideshare,
as
yep.
the state calls them, TNCs, Transportation Network Companies. And we have definitely, in the last year, have seen a great deal of increase with the TNC operators, and they're there year-round. Actually, I was on my cell phone back in February after a town council meeting, and I noticed 5 at 11 o'clock at night down there. And so it's interesting to see how this is becoming a year-round mode of transportation that is very popular with our residents and guests here. So it is something that we need to be looking for to accommodate and make sure that they have a nice little niche as well, that people can easily, pedestrians can walk to, or that the vehicles can come to the pedestrians.
And where will they be located?
We're carving out for taxis, liveries, and the TNC operators, as well as personal vehicles that are coming to wait for their passengers to come off the ferry system, or even they're coming from like a restaurant, or they want to stay at the shanties for any special event that's occurring down at Bismore Park. They will have a waiting area along Nantucket Street that they can then, contact through their cell phone. So it's going to be called a cell waiting area. So, yeah.
What else do you want people to know about these new changes? How is this going to be communicated? This, we're creatures of habit.
Yes, we are.
Right? So,
Yeah.
there's this public awareness that has to happen. I'm sure you've covered that.
Yeah, well, we're going to. So right here at Channel 18, we're going to continue to communicate through you and make sure that everybody is aware of the changes as we continue to implement them, because it will be in a strategic manner. We're not going to just plop it down in one fell swoop. We have to actually do it in system. So, and then we're going to be going out to each of the user groups and identify and let them know and ask questions, and really, and that way we can also make accommodations and changes through the season. If we don't have that communication, ongoing open communication, it's not going to work. So, so we've included Highline. We're going to be doing training with all of our staff down there, as well as incorporating Highline down there with all of the training, and also with signage, that kind of stuff, that we're going to be really doing a tremendous amount of outreach to people.
Right. And even before they get to Ocean Street, there'll be some information that motorists will be aware of, that things are changing.
Yeah, so that we are going to be, I don't want them investing, and I don't want to circle around the block. When you go to a community, you want to be able to be set up for success, and so it's a nice, smooth process and less anxiety and less concern. So we're going to be actually placing signage. We're working with engineering and the traffic department of the police, and identifying locations so we can place signage, information signage, so people can go down the right roads, the correct roads, and be able to get to the places that they need to go safely.
Right. And I just want to mention that this is a pilot program,
Yeah.
so changes probably are going to be identified.
Yes, it is. So this is just phase one. We're going to try it out and get it, and see what works and what doesn't work. I'm very confident that the waiting area is going to be something that's a welcome, but we need to make sure that signage is identified to help people get to that location if they're going to be walking to meet up with a cell phone waiting area, whether it be a taxi or whatever. So we need to make sure that we're doing it right. So we, again, like I said, we want to set up these businesses, all of them, for success, and the pedestrians and the user groups. So I want to make sure that open communication is welcome.
Great. Anything I didn't ask?
Well, we have staff down there that are going to be there. So we have gateway greeters already established there, but we're going to be increasing the staffing this year. So to make sure that, pedestrians, that's really the big number one, and making sure also the harbor master activity down there is safely operating, because we want to make sure that those boats have access to the services that they are in need of, or getting the fish loads off, or getting the oil onto their boats. Those are things that is in the same core area and demanding of the space. So we want to make sure that, so we have staff in place that we can direct passengers or pedestrians and keep them out of harm's way. And that requires police details, extensive amount of help from the gateway greeters, as well as the pros, the parking resource officers, and the harbor master's office. So again, as I mentioned, with the training, that's going to be part of it, and Highline staff is going to be on their property helping pedestrians get around the block of land there. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, it's an exciting summer.
It is. I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to be so welcome and clean for everyone to understand.
Thanks so much, Liz.
Thank you, Paula.
Time to check that garage and shed for the shovel, board, and tow rope. April 1st, ORV permits go on sale at Sandy Neck. It looks cold, but summer is coming. We're out here at Sandy Neck with Park Supervisor Donna Bragg. You are ready for summer.
I am ready. We're trying to get ready. We will be opening April 1st. The gatehouse hours for the month of April will be 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. to sell permits for the ORV beach, and we're anticipating a crowd.
Well, you know what? Every year it seems like the word's out that Sandy Neck is the place to be during the summer, though we actually like it in the winter as well.
We do, we do, we do. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about getting prepared to get out there on the neck. There's some things that folks really need to understand before they come for the sticker.
Sure. First of all, let me just say that everything we're going to talk about is actually on our website, which is great. So you can see it in black and white, and that way, if people aren't hearing everything we're talking about, they can actually see it. So in order to prepare to get your vehicle ready for Sandy Neck, you have to have certain pieces of equipment which are required. And I always tell people it's so important that they bring it, because you do not want to have a tow truck have to go out on Sandy Neck to get you because you didn't bring your board or your strap or whatever, and you get stuck, because that's the whole point of it. So it behooves them to get ready for it. Once you have your equipment, and we will go over what equipment you need, you're going to come to the gatehouse with the equipment in your vehicle. We'll do an inspection, and then you bring in your license and registration. Super important that if it's a leased vehicle, we're going to make a copy of the front page of the lease also. Then some paperwork is all filled out. The sticker in hand, we give out the regulations, and we actually go over the highlights of the regulations, because everybody needs to remember that they are responsible for all the regulations that are in that book, whether they read them or not. Regulations have to remain in the vehicle. Again, I suggest that they read them before they put them in the glove compartment, because that's an important thing. So they know the more advanced they are with this, the easier it is, and it makes for a smooth sailing and a wonderful summer.
Right. And let's just touch on regulations for a second. Regulations are in place for public safety.
Yes,
They're not there because, geez, somebody decided to do a regulation.
Right.
It's to make sure that everybody's safe on the beach.
That's correct. That's correct. Some of the highlights of the regulations are no alcohol is allowed on Sandy Neck for for obvious reasons. No glass bottles, because it makes beautiful sea glass, but kids are out there and you could step on it and so forth. Where they have to drive is important. Again, safety, we don't want kids running in and out, zigging and zagging, because they can get hurt. Fire regulations, they can't have a huge bonfire. You have to just have a normal sized fire before, we'll let everybody know if they're not doing the right thing. Speed limit is super important, because as we get into plover season, which there are some on the beach already, we start to lower the speed limit. In season, it's 5 miles an hour on the beach. And trust me, people call in if somebody's going too fast. So those are the highlights of and airing down number one, because if you don't air all 4 tires down to the minimum of 18 PSI, and I always suggest 15, you're going to run into trouble. It's lousy for your engine, and plus you're going to get stuck, and that's a whole world of hurt.
Yeah. We've actually experienced that with one of the Ranger trucks over the.
Yeah, and it's not fun.
It's not fun.
No.
And that's why you're carrying a lot of this equipment, is because the sand is soft.
Correct.
And there are occasions sometimes that you're not getting through that sand and you do get stuck. So let's talk a little bit about what equipment is needed for the neck.
Sure. A jackboard, very, very important, and we have specific sizes. On the jackboard, it has to be 18 by 18, 3/4 inch plywood or 1/4 inch thick steel. People must understand that the jackboard is to actually place your jack on. Some people try to dig out if they get stuck with the jackboard, and sometimes it's successful, but it is to place your jack on there. Because if you're out there with a flat tire and you put your jack in the sand, it's just going to sink and you'll never get your car jacked up. Also need a tow strap, minimum of 15 feet long, and that is for hopefully a friend that comes out or somebody that's out there that if you do get stuck, you can hook up the tow strap and get yourself pulled out, again, before you have to call a tow truck. We do not, the staff does not pull people out. Tire pressure gauge, some of them are so fancy now, I always suggest getting a manual one anyway, even if you have the digital ones, because if your battery dies, you're not going to know what your tire's at. This way you can check all 4 of your tires to make sure they're properly deflated. The other thing is a shovel. A shovel, and people will bring small shovels, which are legal size, but I always tell them it's like digging sand with a teaspoon. So you want a decent sized shovel, because the purpose of that is if you get stuck, the sand will get up underneath the frame of the vehicle, so you kind of have to dig out, because your tires will not be touching the ground. So you have to dig out around that. A jack, and the bottle jack is great, or a jack that you're using for your vehicle, that comes for your vehicle, with your vehicle, is fine. But just make sure it's a sturdy jack, because again, you're in a little bit extreme conditions. You're not on pavement, you're in the sand. So, and then we provide the rules and regulations and a tide chart. Tide chart is very important. I always suggest to people to go to our website and download our app, because that comes with a tide, the tide's on it, and it also gives the current information of what's going on with the beach.
Fantastic. We can't wait for summer.
We can't wait for summer. It's going to be a great year.
Excellent. So stickers are on sale April 1st.
Yes.
Come get them. It will be busy that day, I'm sure. It's always opening day for Sandy Neck.
Right.
Is always one of those ones that people line up at the gatehouse. But you're open basically the rest of the week.
7 days a week.
7 days a week.
Yep.
Excellent. Thanks, Anna.
You're welcome.
With a shortage of seasonal workforce, employers were ready with applications and interview schedules at the 3rd Annual Youth Job Fair, organized by the Barnstable Youth Commission.
So far, let's see, within the first half an hour, we already have 120 kids. So the turnout is great, and hopefully they are enjoying it and finding jobs.
Their first job sets their whole future career path. If they don't learn a work ethic from the very beginning, they're pretty much doomed for the future.
The job teaches kids a lot. It teaches them responsibility, for one. Again, it educates them into adulthood, you know, getting what adults have to deal with as we get older and have to fend for ourselves, so to speak. And it teaches them, hopefully it teaches them how to save money, how to put money away to prepare themselves for the future.
And the kids that are in this room today are not only Barnstable's, but our country's and the globe's future. So it falls upon us, the current employers, to try and teach them that work ethic so that they can carry it on, or else we're in big trouble.
Oh, I feel it's very important. I mean, these kids, especially as they get older and they're coming into the workforce for their first time, you know, for one, it keeps them active during the summer. You know, it keeps them educated also. They don't get into trouble. And it's just prepares them for later on in life, getting their first job and seeing how everything works.
It's an amazing and rich training ground for science education. So everything from biology and chemistry and anatomy, everything they're learning in the classroom, we can turn around and reinforce in our internship in real time while they're working with patients, and they work right alongside our staff scientists and veterinarians to go through these processes, learn these concepts, and actually help these animals get back out to the wild. And they do everything from feeding and cleaning to working right alongside the vets to help medicate and care for animals in need. And then we also work on some research projects regarding microplastics right now, the efficacy of vaccines in different animals, and the list goes on.
That's easy. They can ride our public transportation. Cape Cod Regional Transit Authority covers all 15 towns on the Cape. We have access to all the major shopping plazas, and our goal here today is to help them figure out how to get to where they're working from their home or from school. Well, that's our goal, is try to help them out and let them know that our drivers are well trained and certainly are there to help them if they have questions. And they can certainly contact us, and we would be happy to do a one-on-one training with them if they were interested, or even a group training if they had some friends that would like to learn how to use the system.
Yeah, so this year we kind of updated a little bit. We brought in a collection of laptops, and we have everyone filling out just an online form to log in, and they're just creating a registration of their name, email, school, and grade. Just so we can contact them for the future events we have, and be able to reach out to them. Yeah, so overall, I mean, people are doing as you'd expect. They're going around to the tables, talking to businesses, and a lot of them are walking out with at least one application to consider filling out. I'm definitely a little surprised. I knew there would be an increase year over year. We were really putting in a lot of effort trying to make sure everyone heard about this event, but it's really impressive that we are about half an hour into the event and we've already surpassed the amount of students we had last year. It's really nice to see.
I was amazed. I heard all the commotion from my office down the hallway, and I know it's just starting, but it's already very well attended. There's so many kids here, and it's enlightening to see. That means that the kids are, really thinking about their future. So I like to see that.
I am. This is my third year here too. It is an amazing turnout, and it's really heartening to see this many kids out there in the community getting ready for their summer work and beyond.
Greatest thing today is right now in this room, and we've only been open about 10 minutes, there are more kids in here today than there were in the entire fair last year.
I am. I think it's wonderful. It's so great to see so many of the youth out looking for jobs and being a part of our community.
So it's very encouraging that 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, so many of them their first time looking for a work, are actually looking for a job. So kudos to Barnstable. This was great.
The owner of Polar Cave, he came to us and he was amazed at the turnout that we got. And I think they're just so happy that they have these, because finding employees on Cape Cod can sometimes be hard. So I think they're grateful that they have this opportunity to get so many youth employees.
Yeah. Overall turnout was important for them, and we've delivered this year, certainly.
The First Tee program not only teaches golf, it teaches core values of respect, honesty, and more. Register today. Lessons start next week. The First Tee program at the Hyannis Golf Course. With me, David Dunellen. He is the teaching professional, and this is such a wonderful program. Tell us a little bit about what First Tee is.
Well, the First Tee is a life skills program for kids ages 7 through 17, 6 through 17. And here at Hyannis, we run three different seasons: a spring semester, a summer season, and a fall season. So the kids can come for 9 weeks at a time. The programs last 9 weeks. And so they can get 27 weeks, 54 hours of instruction in a wonderful setting like this. The Hyannis Golf Course is always helpful with us in the program. And what does the program entail? There's golf, obviously, but it's a life skills program. So they learn, every week they learn a new life skill. So honesty, integrity, respect, courtesy, responsibility, all of those wonderful things that we as adults need to learn as well. But that's what we teach them, and they learn the golf skills along with that.
And incorporating those skills into golf, not a lot of people especially who don't play golf, understand that those honesty skills and things like that really are important to this game.
It really is. Unlike other sports where there's a referee who's kind of out there officiating, in golf you're your own judge. You decide whether or not you've broken a rule, you call the rule on yourself. And that's pretty cool out here. The kids learn that right away, you know, how to count their score and remember how many shots they took and stuff like that. Yeah.
Great. And we've noticed there's quite a few young ladies in the course this year.
Yeah, we have, it's a small crowd today with maybe the threat of weather, but we're running about a 40% rate of female to male on the golf rosters. So we're thrilled with that. We love the little girls playing golf.
Excellent. And what type of skills are they learning for golf specifically? Are they learning chipping and putting, or?
They learn all 7 shots. So putt, chip, pitch, bunker shots, approach shots, transport shots, and driver shots. And then they learn, you know, how to score along with that. They learn how to control distance. A lot of these kids are learning coordination for the first time too.
Right.
They're not, everybody is a gifted athlete, so it takes some kids longer than others to learn, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, it really is.
Right. And do you see these kids, after they come through this 9-week course, kind of start to, you know, either go out for their teams at school or start to come back here with their parents?
Absolutely. We have a lot of families who play golf out here, a lot of brothers and sisters who play golf. Lots and lots of kids have played on all the local high school golf teams. So there's a million of them. You know, they keep going. And then the kids in this age, we have a new program called the PGA Junior League, and there's over 50 kids competing in that.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a golf league now. So with the concussion sports starting to maybe make parents think twice about what their kids are getting into, golf is a great outlet. It's very social. You don't need to be fast. You don't need to be super strong. You need to be able to pay attention. You need to be able to have some social skills. But you know, you're your own judge. It's very independent sport, even though you're doing it in a group setting.
Yeah, and it is athletic.
Oh, it's athletic.
Right.
Yeah, these kids are, it's athletic. You know, adults are swinging the club over 100 miles an hour. You know, female golfers are swinging the club 70, 80 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour. These kids are figuring out athleticism and coordination, no doubt about it. And when we walk on the course, if we play 9 holes with these kids, they're walking 2 miles.
Wow.
That's 2 miles, and the parents are always happy because the kids are sleeping well at night. There's no one on a telephone. There's no one doing screen time. The kids really, really enjoy it. It's a wonderful program.
Right.
So if your kids aren't doing anything and you'd like to get them involved, we're happy to have them. We say yes to everybody.
Fantastic.
Yeah, how's that?
Anything else you want to tell folks?
Play golf, Cape Cod, play golf.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Up next, things to do, places to go, people to meet. Join local choirs for a fun evening of choral music of all styles as Cape Cod church and community choirs gather to perform individually and together for the benefit of Habitat for Humanity. The 4th annual Sing for Good is a multi-chorus concert, this year benefiting Habitat for Humanity. It's this Saturday, 7 p.m., Cape Cod Synagogue, 145 Winter Street, Hyannis. Comments, suggestions, accolades? Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, email us, or send us an old-fashioned note by carrier pigeon. Channel 18 works. For you, I'm Paula Hersey, and thank you for watching Barnstable Today.